Hello, folks. Welcome to Business Basics. We've been looking this week at 25 tips to overcome sales objections. And today we're looking at 5 tips from my brilliant co-host, Andy Hemming, around asking questions. Andy, it's great to see you. Thanks for joining.
Great to be here.
Got some questions for you, Andy. I hope you've got some tips for me.
Well, I just might ask you some more questions if that's okay. It's really important, isn't it? Because the whole premise of asking questions is it's about understanding other people's view of the world rather than trying to enforce our view of the world upon them. So asking questions becomes pivotal to a decent sales process because we cause objections by trying to implant our view of the world in other people's minds rather than trying to understand theirs and shape a solution for them. So I think that's the context of these 5 tips. So the first thing is we've got to learn to ask decent quality questions, and those are the open-ended questions, ones that don't end with a yes or no, because we're really trying to explore a person's point of view. So a nice bank of open-ended questions will really get us started. Now, I think of these as boulders, by the way. The closed questions, the not deep questions, they're like, you remember when you were a kid and you stood on the beach and you skimmed that flat stone across the water and it never really had an impact. So instead, you can ask lots of those and they still never really have an impact. So instead, find a few boulders for your sales process. And those boulders are the really good open-ended questions that you can keep exploring and let them sink until you get to emotion. And that for me works really well as an analogy. So just a couple of really nice open-ended questions that you can ask as part of your sales process. And then don't take the first answer. So we've got to dig deeper. We might think we understand what they mean, but we probably don't. So it's about asking lots of supplementary questions to really get a proper understanding and help them get a proper understanding of what they mean, because they probably haven't thought about it at that level either. And what that really does is helps us get to an emotional connection with the thing that we're talking about, which is super important in sales, isn't it? Obviously, we've got to avoid the leading questions, which are the closed questions, the yes or no, or pointing people down a particular route, which probably reinforces our view of the world rather than theirs. Because really what we're doing then is just potentially causing objections because we're saying your view of the world isn't right, but mine is. And that just makes us look a bit of an assumptor, or maybe the first syllable anyway. So get away from those leading questions. Stop that. Not clever. Show curiosity, and I think that whole process is about this whole process is about that. Showing curiosity is really about having the respect to understand somebody else's model of the world. We're so good at I know I've said it a couple of times in this 5 tips, but trying to implant our view of the world onto somebody else. You know, I use the beach ball analogy quite often. So if I was holding up a beach ball right now and I said, what color do you see? You might say red and blue. And I could swear blind that it was green and yellow, and we'd both be right. But if we were curious enough to just do that, then we'd have a much, much better picture of that world, wouldn't we? So that showing curiosity is super important. And then really questions to help prioritize solutions, because there may be things which are more important to them. Some might be deal breakers, some might not be. So really that helping them to rank their own prioritization so that they create the best solution for them with the right timings in mind. I think down to questions, practicing great quality questions is absolutely front and center of a great sales process and avoiding objections.
Thank you, Andy. 5 great tips about asking questions. Thanks for joining, folks. If you'd like to find out more, if you'd like to get Andy's 25 tips to overcome your sales objections, then follow the link in this post and download the guide. We can't wait to hear from you. Until next time, bye for now.